So this first one, it says which equation is equivalent to the equation below after both sides are simplified. So this is just a little bit different than solve it. It's asking you to think about it. So we need to make sure we know what equivalent means. That means which two are equal, and it means which they're going to be equal on both sides after we simplify them. And remember, simplifying is distributive property and combining like terms. So when we do that, we will see if they match. So we're not actually solving this one. We're just going to simplify it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is on this side, I'm going to look for distributive property, then combine like terms. So I actually do see distributive property. I see 5 times x, which is 5x. And then I see 5 times positive 2, which is positive 10. That's simplified. So now I'm going to go to the other end and I'm going to look. Do I see distributive property? No, I do not see anything. But I do see combine like terms. So I'm going to circle those. I have a negative 4x and a positive 6x. So negative 4 plus positive 6 would equal a 2x. And then I didn't do anything with this positive 10, so I'm going to drop it down. And then I'm also going to make sure I drop down my equal sign. So now that I've simplified on both sides, I'm just going to look to see which one matches. So a 5x plus 10. So right away, I can get rid of this one. I can get rid of this one. Oh, here, let's see. I see a 5x plus 10, and then I see 2x plus 10. So I know automatically it's got to be that one. Okay, so now we're going on to number 2. For this one, it just says which equation has no solution. So remember, there's some things we know about no solution. When we solve it, they are not, either side will not look alike. So we're going to get something like 9 equals 8. That's not true, so that's no solution. What else we also know is that if there is a variable only on one side of the equation, it is going to be one solution. So again, when there's one variable only on one side, that's automatically a one solution. So let me go through and look at my choices to see if anything fits that. I look right here at B right away. So A, I know I'm going to probably have to solve or do some things with it, but I look at B and I only see a variable on one side. Automatically, I know that's going to have one solution if I solve it. So that is not an answer. I'm looking for a no solution problem. Another one, we already know what it looks like. So if you have your target 3 note sheet out, we know what infinite solutions looks like, meaning every number fits. Those are when the sides are exactly the same. So you could have x equals x. 5 equals 5, negative a million equals negative a million. Or look at this bottom one. I notice I have 2x plus 1 equals 2x plus 1. They're exactly the same. That means they're infinite solutions. So again, this one's not a choice. Right off the bat, I got rid of 2 by using my note sheet and what I know the other ones look like. So I only have to do 2 of these. I actually have to figure them out to see which one's going to be no solution, which one's going to match, kind of like what's up here. So let's try A. Let's try simplifying A down. We don't have to solve it to see if it's no solution, but we can simplify it down. So if I look over here, this 3x plus 18, nothing can be simplified over here. So it's actually fine the way it's at. So I'm just going to rewrite it underneath. Actually, I'll move it to the side a little bit, but we'll do it later. Let's do this side though. So I want to try on the other side. So I have a positive 6, which can go with a, let's see, positive 17. If I add those two together, as I said, so that's going to give you 23. So I'm going to have 23 on this side, and I'm just going to write it over here. And then I'm going to look at my x's. When I put those together, if I have a 5x, and I'll just put a box around it, it's a positive, and a negative 2x. 5 minus 2 or 5 plus negative 2. That gives me a 3x. And then we're going to remember in between the 23, it was a positive 23. So I'm just going to put that sign. So again, I simplified the right side of it. I'm going to drop this other side down. 3x plus 18. So if I look here, some people will recognize right away, but I'm going to go one other step and keep solving this. I'm going to do our newest step. This is the one we learned for this target, is taking the variables to one side. So I got to take this 3x over here on the right and do the opposite. So I have to take the 3x and I do minus 3x, minus 3x. And what I notice is 3x minus 3x, they cancel. On this side, I'm left with a 23. And then over here, if I do 3x minus 3x, because I lined them up, they cancel. And I'm left with an 18. Now that I simplified A, or solved it, is that a solution? Does 18 equal 23? So right away, the answer is no. So I know my answer is A. I could go through and solve this one too, but I already figured out the answer. This one would be one solution because there's only going to be one right answer for everything. So that's how I would go about solving this. Get rid of the ones you know it's not, and then solve them. Then solve. If you're not sure, you might have had to solve all four, and that's okay too. All right, let's go on to number 3. This one's an easy one, what you're used to seeing. Is just solve. So we're going to go through, I'm going to walk you through the steps. So we're going to look for distributive property on both sides. And I see I have 8 times x. So that's going to get me an 8x. And then I'm going to have 8 times negative 7. That negative goes with it. So it's negative 56. And then I'm going to have over here the same thing, 3x plus 23. So from there, we're going to, there's no more simplifying. We're just going to move variables to the other side and solve a 2-step equation. So the first thing I would do is I'm going to take this variable here on the right and I'm going to move it over here by adding or subtracting. Since it's a positive 3x, I'm going to do minus 3x, minus 3x. And then I'm going to rewrite my problem up here in the corner so I can start solving. So 8 minus 3x is 5x. It's a positive, and I'm still left with this minus 56. And then I still have this equals 23. From there, it's a 2-step equation. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in my sign on my line, and I'm going to solve from here. So I get rid of addition or subtraction first, which means the number all by itself, minus 56. The opposite is plus 56, plus 56. So then over here it cancels and I get 5x equals 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6, 79. So from here I would take 79 and I'm going to divide both sides by 5, divide by 5, and x is going to equal 15.8. If you notice here, that would have been C, 15.8. All right, let's go on to number 4. So from here, number 4, this one's, we're solving again. So what I have to do is, it looks like there is no distributive property, but I notice over here I've got 2 x terms, so I can combine like terms. So I end up with negative 4x minus 20x, which gives me a negative 24x. I'm just writing it up here. There's a little more room for me. And then that would equal, this is negative 4x plus 10. From there, I have I'm sorry. I have my newest step. I forgot the x there. I'm going to bring my variable over to the other side by adding or subtracting, which means I take this variable here, this negative 4x, and I do the opposite to get it over here. So it becomes plus 4x, what happens is they cancel on this side, and you have to be careful. Negative 24 plus 4. That would give me negative 20x. And then I'm still left with over here that equals 10, my equal sign. I'm bringing my work down kind of over to the side just because there's more room for me to show you each step. And then I do my last step, which is to get this over here. So what I would then do is, so I'm dividing both sides here by this negative 20 divided by negative 20. That gets the x by itself. And then I just simplify. So 10 divided by negative 20 in my calculator, or if you know the trick with the zeros, you can cross it off. So your answer is, it's one solution because it's negative 1/2. And then I just want to point back up to number 3 when we were doing it at the start of the video. I changed the answer key around. So if it's 15.8, the answer is B. Even though I recorded this in different segments, when I went to do it, the answer it's still the same. I just put it in a different spot because I needed to redo the actual practice quiz. So just make sure you look back up there that that's matching. Okay, so now we're skipping around because we don't have time for all of it, but I want to make sure we are doing the ones that we haven't seen yet. So we're going to move right to number 7. The question is, which equation will have infinitely many solutions? So remember, infinitely many solutions means it looks exactly the same on both sides. Remember, we talked about one solution. We know for sure is if there's only one variable on a side. No solution is when they do not match. So let's see if we can go through and look to see if there is just one right away that looks exactly the same. So we might have something like after you solve it, 5 equals 5. So I'm going to just look through this practice quiz, and right away I see my answer without even having to do work because I know what the definition of infinitely many means. So 4x equals 4x. These are exactly the same. So my answer is infinitely many solutions. I used my Target 3 note sheet and my knowledge. I don't even need to solve any more of these to see, because right away looking at this, I could go through. So if you needed to go through and solve all these, that would be okay too. You'd come out with an answer of, when you divide both sides, you'd equal x equals x. So that's the correct answer. All right, and then the last one I want to look at is going to be our story problem. Remember, we always have the same format for a story problem. We're going to have something x plus another amount, and then it's going to repeat. So then we're going to have our equal sign, something x plus something else. And remember, the number next to the x is always the amount that changes. You'll see the word per, each, every, something like that. The number that is all by itself, or called the constant, is the one-time fee, deposit, something like that. So that's how you set it up on both sides and solve. So we're just going to set this one up first together. So it says UPS charges 7 for the first pound and 20 for each additional pound. So right there, I see the word each. This is going to be the one that goes next to my x, 0.20. And then the one-time amount for UPS is the $7. So let's go to the next one. We have FedEx charges $5 for the first pound and 30 cents for each. Again, I see the each word, so that's going to go 0.30 next to my variable. And then the one-time amount was the $5. So right there, if I can memorize this format here, and this is on many different note sheets we have done along the way, you should be able to solve it then.